So we had to look at what has our judges said about the the aviation about aviation industry, where it has to do with issues of comparing it with certain foreign legislations, where it has to do with issue of willful misconduct. What has our judges said about those principles? What amount, how do you get compensation where you find that your luggage was missing? Those were contained in chapter 6 of the work. And then Anna went forward to recommendations. In the recommendation, that's where you find the cross of the work. Recommendations were very necessary because the government is lacking. For instance, the Nigerian government has signed a lot of bilateral service agreements, bilateral air service agreement, but they have not been maximizing it. As at the time I commenced the work, there was even no record of national carrier. I mean, it's just recently I'm hearing of that. Then you find that there are a whole lot of leakage. You don't even have many aviation lawyers. Aviation law, I have never heard of anyone being studied in the university in Nigeria. Then we made recommendations why the CBN, I made recommendations why the CBN actually should release funds to people who intend to venture into the aviation industry, because it's quite a tasking one. Is quite capital intensive. It requires a whole lot of security. It requires a whole lot of making good business judgments, not just things on paper. But you see, at the end of the day, what I've been able to achieve is that I have been able to put the Nigerian aviation industry more on paper on a global stage, because I believe that my work will go beyond the shores of Nigeria. It will be read internationally. I've been able to convince the people that Nigeria is not just a participant, but they have been able to comply reasonably with the principles of ICAO. I've been able to also establish a work that can be said to be an agitation for people who want to venture more into the aviation industry, especially for young lawyers. There's a whole lot out there. You also find out that people oftentimes have their flights cancelled, they have their luggage lost, they have their issues of debt. Who speaks on their behalf when it comes to these issues? How do they get compensation? How do you ensure that awards that are due to you comes to you? How do you also ensure that aircraft don't carriers aircraft and the carriers, they don't just wake up and they just do whatever that they feel like without complying? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and also the fact that you are being bullied is also not an excuse for you not to enforce your right. And so, by the work that I have done, by the law of aerospace that I have put forward, a whole lot of people, a whole lot of citizens, even foreigners, can benefit from it. And now it also gives you opportunity in case you want to come into Nigeria to invest. You can pick up the work and know what are the statutes, what does the statute provide for. When it has to do with obtaining of licenses, how do I go about obtaining license for private aircraft, for commercial aircraft? How do I go about also relating with the government? And as a matter of fact, when you want to sue the government, for instance, for the government ministries that involved, what do? There are places where you have to do a pre-action notice. If you don't know these things, you will find it difficult to be able to enforce your right properly. Then, which of the courts are also involved? Is it a federal high court? Is it a state high court? How do you articulate these things? These are part of the research that I have done successfully. And in wrapping up, I must tell you that Selenius University of Science and Literature has given me a whole lot of catalysts. a whole lot of stimulation to be able to do this deep research. And I had to consult a whole lot of work. Thanks to the internet, thanks to even the pilot that I had a relationship with. As a matter of fact, when I started this work, I must be sincere to you, I was a greenhorn. It was just a flair, it was just a passion. But over time, with the powerful blend of having practiced law for a number of years, I was able to find my footing and I was able to do a work which I must tell you, I'm very confident will go round the nations of the world. It's been a beautiful voyage carrying out this thesis, and I'm hopeful that Salinis University will also consider it an excellent work indeed and give me the necessary credits and award. Thank you so much, and God bless you.